You testing?
No, I'm recording now. Okay. Hey Andre, it's Murray. You know me. I'm in your class. Alright, let's do this. So for the first question, we're making the star and stuff. I'm just gonna show that. Was that your appearance, Mariah?
Hi, Andre.
Mariah's here. I'm doing this in a loud room. Next time it'll be in my bedroom. Sorry about that. So yeah, I'm just running this really quickly. Show that I did it. And there it is, you see? Star. So, the only important parts of this kind of came down to what I was putting in for my vertices. So I put it into that, and then making sure I did the correct winding of indices here. I also had to make sure I changed the byte width for this, the byte width for this as well, to reflect the amount of vectors I was putting into it, or the amount of words I was putting into it. For a while it wasn't working and I was really confused, but then I realized that I wasn't also setting the draw index thing which you mentioned, so I found that here and I changed the number for that, and then it started working. So that was that. Then on to the other project. Was also pretty good. Here, let me just load that up. I should have had both of these loaded up. Okay, so this kind of revolves around that static integer you have here. So I did that here, static constant numVerts equals 12, and you can set this to any number and it works. So let me just show that off. It works with 12. See that? 12. And then it works with 50. Yeesh. Just take my word for it, honestly. I forgot to check this out. I should have. But anyways, this was kind of like good. Hang on. I specifically had to change to wireframe here in the fill mode. So you can see you can change between the two if you want, just by uncommenting and commenting those lines. This was also kind of centered around how you created the vertices. So I created the array, and then I found the circle value, kind of divided the circle up into sections, using pi. So 2 pi divided by the number of vertices is obviously like the sections. So then you would yeah, so then we go over here and you LOL, I write notes to myself in the deep dark hours of the night. And it's pretty self-explanatory here. You just use cosine to get the x value, and then I use that circle value up there, and then sine, and that gave me the correct vertices for all of that. Then the indices were weird, but I had ended up using this obviously the indices number is 2, or the number of vertices minus 2 always. So I used that a lot here. You can kind of see that in how I reflected these numbers here. The winding was weird for this, but I ended up realizing that it was just 0, 1, 2, 0, 2, 3, 0, 3, 4, 0, 4, 5, stuff like that. So I tried to just create a for loop that emulated that. So I have this word value here that gets incremented when we're dealing with an index that's like not divisible by 3, and when we do get to one that's divisible by 3, that's always going to be 0, so then I decrement that value, so it always ends up working like that. And then, yeah, that's pretty much how that one works. Also in the further work stuff, I kind of tried answering the questions and looked into some of them. I didn't really go super in depth with them, but let's see. Oh yeah, so the first one was like about the parts of the triangle disappearing, almost looking like a trapezoid and stuff like that, and I imagined that was because of what we were setting the depth to. There's like a value there that was like 0 was the minimum depth and then 1 was the maximum depth, so if anything was on the z-axis like farther than 1, then it would just get clipped. So that's what I thought that was. The next one was about like rendering to less than the full window, and I thought that was for like, you know, picture-in-picture stuff or rendering smaller cameras, you know. And I mentioned like Unity's render textures as an example of that, because you can render camera views to small parts of the window in Unity. And then I kind of looked at these like texture values. I don't really know like what they're actually, like what each one actually does, but I kind of like learned what like unorm and uint and sint meant. Kind of just like guessed a little bit. So I was like, unorm is like unsigned normalized integer, so that's between 0 and 1, and then the RGB stuff was just like, I thought it was like 8-bit color channels for the red, green, and blue and alpha. And then if it was like R16, that means it was just a 16-bit red channel. And then, yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure if that's actually true, but it was my guess. So yeah, that's how that worked. That's pretty much everything. Okay.